Okay, hey guys, what's up? Today we are going to be uploading our first program, or uploading our program for one, and getting motors running, and just in general getting our motors set up. So that's what we'll be doing today, and let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we have to do is we need to create another file that we can hold our motors in. So we're gonna go ahead and click the new file and then save that, and go into our program, and then we want to go into our include folder again. But this one we're going to call motor, or you can call it whatever you want. But I'm going to call mine motors, and then it's going to be a .h this time, not a .cpp. You want it to be a .h, and then go ahead and save that, and then it's here. And the first, once again, something else that you want to do, so it just does it. You're gonna the first thing you're gonna do is do a pound or hashtag, and then it's gonna be programma, and then once, and that will help fix errors that are there. Don't click enter after you do it. Go ahead and do that, and then we're gonna go ahead and include our made file as well, and we should know how to do that already. So we're gonna go ahead and type include, and then it would be main.h in there. There we go. And then what we are going to do now is we are going to go ahead and define our motor for general use, not for just driver control use or autonomous use. The way we do that is we do a pound or hashtag and type define, and then we put the name in. Now, I only have one motor with my current setup that you will be seeing in a minute, and I'm just going to go ahead and name it just motor 1, and then so that's going to be the name of it for now. This name isn't a permanent name. We're going to be renaming it in a minute, so you can make it whatever you want. It's up to you. But and then now we need to define what port it is in, so we go ahead and press space, and then mine's in port 1, so I'm going to put a 1 here, but whatever port yours is in, that's where you put yours. And then so now we need to redefine it specifically for driver control. So what we're going to do is we're going to type pros, and then do 2 colons, and then motor with a capital M, and then a space. And then this is where we put our new name. So I'm just going to name it motor here, and then we're going to put parentheses and our first name that we had up there. So motor 1 is what we put there, and then we need to put a semicolon at the end of this line, and now it's ready to be used in driver control. So this name right here is what we use in driver control, the one I have highlighted, and this name up here is what we use for general use when we're defining other different types for but so yeah, no. And then sometimes when you're doing like drive bases or just general arms and stuff, you're gonna want to reverse the motors, and you can always change the values, which is, I mean, you can. It's not always the most effective thing to do, but you can also just reverse the motor by doing comma and then typing in true, and then that will automatically reverse the motor from what it is. So that's just something that you can experiment with for your drive bases and stuff. So now we have our motor defined. We also need to define our controller here. That way we can control it with our controller. So the way we do that is we type pros again, and we do 2 colons, and it will be controller, and then we're gonna go space, and then you can put a name in here. I'm just gonna name my master, which is the original pros one, and then parentheses, and it would be pros again with those, and then e underscore controller. It will be controller master, yes, but all caps. You're gonna want controller master all caps. There we go, and then a semicolon to end it, and that should be fine. You would be able to control things with your controller after you write some code for it now. So we're going to go ahead and save this file by pressing Control S, and then head over to our driver control here. So the way that driver control works is in the match we obviously have a 15-second autonomous period, and then we have a 1 minute and 45 second driver control period, and since you're always changing by pressing buttons on your controller, you have this thing called a while loop, and so this always runs while whatever is in these parentheses is true, and since this is true, this will never end, and will keep running until our function is done. So when the timer runs out in the game, so you want to type pretty much all your code inside of here. There's going to be pretty much nothing that goes up here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do here is just make our motor move, which shouldn't be too hard. It's honestly very easy. You can just, it's as simple as this. You just type in the name of the motor. So in our case, motor, and then you wanted to do dot move, and then in here you just type in the speed you want to go, and in this case it's in between -127 and +127. So let's just make this +127, which is full speed, and then put a semicolon after it. Now I am getting this error, and that is because I forgot to do one thing, which is I need to include my motor file. So you're gonna do the #include again, and then do this, and then motors.h, and then that will fix it. As you can see, there's no more error. So we're gonna save, and then so if we were to upload this right now, the motor would constantly move, would constantly be moving at full speed until our driver control would be over, which is not something we want, but we're going to go ahead and test it. Okay, so to upload our program to our robot, first things first, you have to, the first time you ever upload a program to a robot, you have to have a direct connection through your micro USB port to your robot brain. And then, so the first time you do that, first time you upload that, it would upload just normally, but it's doing like a full-fledged everything download. After that, you can use your controller, so you never have to be directly tethered to your robot in the micro USB port or charging port on your controller. And so I've already uploaded it once, so I'm plugged into the controller. But there's also two ways to upload at this point in time. You can either click this button and this button after this button's done its thing, which is building, which it's going to do right now. So it's building, and it'll go through a few lists, and then it's going to say done right here. And then when it's done, you can go ahead and click this, which will upload it to your brain if everything is good. And it's now uploaded, which is finished. But you can also click this button right here, the quick action, which will do both of these with just this button, so you don't have to actually like click both. Okay, so now we're going to go run our program, and our motor should be spinning, as you can see. It's kind of violent because we have it at full speed, but it is spinning, so that's what we wanted. Gonna go ahead and turn it off now, and then switch back over to our code. So that was spinning at full speed. You can change it from any number between negative and positive 127, so we can have it at like, I don't know, like 50, or really anything in between those two numbers. If you go over, it will just go to 127. And but yeah, so that's just how you do basic motor movement. But you aren't gonna always want a motor spinning during driver control. So something else we can do is we can use buttons on our controller to make the motor spin when we want them to spin. And the way we do that is we do if statements. So we're gonna go ahead and show you how to do if statements. And the way you do them is you type in if, and then you want parentheses, and then we're gonna call our controller. So since our controller is named master, and then we're gonna do a get digital, because we're getting a controller press, and then we are going to get the button. All the buttons on your controller are labeled if you look at them. I am going to use R2, so we're gonna in all caps type digital, and then you can scroll down to R2 and press enter, and then you go to the very end of that line and do curly brackets, and then this is where we type what we want to do. So we're just going to have our motor spin. So motor, and then dot move, and then I'm just going to have it go 50 so it's not as violent this time. And whenever we press that button, it will be moving at 50 speed. But we also have another issue here. At this point in time, it is getting if that button is pressed, but since we don't have a release put in, it will when we press that button for the first time, it will always be spinning. So the way we fix that is we type in an else, and then we do straight to curly brackets, and then we just do motor dot move, and then we're going to go ahead and put 0 to make it stop. And then so now if we go ahead and save this and then upload it, it should be that where we when we start the program here in a second. Okay, so now when we upload and we start our program, it shouldn't start running right away. That shouldn't happen. And you can see our program started, and whenever we press the button that we selected, it'll spin. So that's what we wanted, and if we hold that button, it will continue to spin, and that is good. And so getting to the point where we can use buttons to move our motors, I'm going to go ahead and stop that video here, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.